Hey peeps, Tyler here with a video about book banning. I have done this video multiple times for multiple reasons. Maybe this time I can actually be somewhat more coherent. So, anyway, I saw Ashley at the Bookish Realms video on book banning. I will link it in the description. Highly recommend going to watch it. And I realized I haven't been hearing about book banning recently, even though it's still happening. I haven't heard people talk about it lately, and it's still happening. So this is just me talking about book banning because we need to talk about it, or else it'll just keep getting worse and worse. Last year was a record high for book banning and challenges, and as most people probably know at this point, the books being banned and challenged are those with queer and black and people of color representation and themes. And something related to that is, if you're new here, I'm queer and trans. Of course, if you're a new subscriber, you probably already know the trans part because some videos I've done on being trans have gotten a crap ton of views and subscribers, and thank you for being here. But I started this channel in 2015 as a booktube channel because I got more into reading, into being an avid reader in 2015 when I was 26, and found booktube. I don't know what my oldest video on here now is because I took off a lot of my videos once I socially changed my name to Tyler. All my old videos were deleted because they said my old name. But I'm sure my oldest video you could still hear and see my old face and voice, because I didn't delete those. I changed my name and whatnot long before I got on T and whatnot. So this channel started as a booktube channel, and I'm an avid reader now, and I'm also a writer. And this channel will have a lot of bookish content, even though almost nobody watches it. Yet when I talk about the fact I'm trans, views skyrocket, which is annoying, but here I am. It is what it is. And I'm just gonna be me, which includes talking about books, regardless if I'm talking to like two people. But so even though I don't have kids, and if I did, I could just buy them books. But that's me, and I'm not a teacher, I'm not a librarian. Ashley is a librarian, so she knows a lot more than I do. I watch her, I love her channel, so just go watch her. But I still have that personal connection because I was a trans kid at one point. And, like, I'm sorry if I'm rambling and not getting stuff out very well. I don't want to script this. But I was a trans kid at one point, and also a disabled kid, and also a neurodivergent kid, all at once, because I was born with Vactral Association. VACTRL, if you want to... VACTERL, if you want to look it up. But in a nutshell, it means I have a lot of medical issues that I was born with, which made a lot of physical medical issues, made school very difficult. I also didn't know I'm neurodivergent until I was in my 30s, which also didn't help. And then, of course, the whole being queer and trans thing on top of it. So, in many ways, I didn't see myself in media at all as a kid. I mean, I had the privilege of most characters in media were the same color as me, the same race. I know I have that privilege. But there weren't... I can't remember really seeing any disabled characters. There might have been something. But queer and trans? My specific medical issues? Hell no. That's too rare. But queer and trans, there was nothing. Except mocking trans women. When I was a young kid, that's all I knew about trans people. Were trans women, and they were mocked and bullied and told that they were evil and going to hell and it was wrong and all that. That's all I knew. Trans men didn't exist in my vocabulary, in my world. Non-binary people didn't exist in my world or vocabulary. I never heard of them. But even when I was a young kid, I would say things like, I feel like a boy. I said that out loud. Not to other people, because I knew what their reactions would be. I had already gotten that. But I said it to myself, and maybe to a close friend or two, that I feel like a boy. And I had those feelings of dysphoria, but I had no word for it. I had no words. Trans men didn't exist in my world. The trans women I heard about was only ridiculed and told they were going to hell. And made fun of. Dysphoria wasn't a word despite the fact I was feeling it. I knew when my body started first puberty, because now I'm in second puberty, but because I started T last year. But the first time when I was a kid, I knew everything felt wrong. That it was the wrong one for me. But I couldn't say that to other people without seeming like I was a lunatic or something. And, going to hell. I didn't know there were other people out there feeling the same things. I didn't even know there was another person with Vactral association out there. I felt like a freak, and all alone, and so confused, because there was no representation for people like me. As it is, I won't be surprised if I never see a character for Vactral Association. That's like 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 40,000 people last I checked the Wikipedia. And while that means there are plenty of other people with Vactral out there, which I have now, thanks to the wonders of the internet, been able to talk to, the wonders of the internet and social media didn't give me that until I was an adult. An adult. I grew up feeling like a freak, like I was all alone, without words for who I was, but I still had the feelings, and I could still describe them to some degree. I would say I want to chop off my chest, but I couldn't do that because that would make me a literal lunatic, I guess, and probably kill me. But like, I wanted them to go away. I wanted a male body, and there were so many neon signs that I was trans growing up, it is ridiculous. Every time, like, if I would get misgendered for some reason, like, misgendered, called a boy, I would be so frickin' happy. But then they'd have to see my chest, or I'd open my mouth, and they'd correct themselves. And I would be devastated. So that's a personal reason why I care about this book banning, because, I mean, one, I think everybody should care in general, but that's what makes it personal to me, because I needed those books that exist now that people are banning and challenging would have helped me so much as a kid. I thought of unaliving myself for over 20 years. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I wanted to unalive myself for over 20 years. I'm 35. I realized barely a year ago that despite having over 2 decades of thinking of unaliving myself, getting as far as writing notes and plans, but never actually doing it, I was at the point that I was going to do it. And when I realized that I was at that point, that I could not take it anymore, I realized I had two options. And that was either unalive myself or transition, despite how terrifying it is. And it doesn't need to be terrifying. It's terrifying because of society. Because of all the violence and the hatred and the anti-trans laws. I just want to exist and be happy as who I am. And books would help with that. Not only would they show kids that they're not alone, which is something I really needed as a kid that I didn't have. And I want the kids today to have that. To know that they're not alone. That they're not freaks. That there's words for their feelings. They deserve that. And I'm sorry if I lose my trains of thoughts. ADHD loves to do that. But yeah, I think I lost a train of thought there at some point. But that's why it's so important to me. As well as just caring in general. And loving books. The books getting banned are queer and black and people of color. They're the ones getting banned and challenged. Mostly, if not entirely. And we just want to exist. When I realized I had two choices. Obviously, I chose the one where I live. And now I'm happy. I chose to transition, to be who I am. I did not choose to be trans. But when I realized I had two choices, unalive myself or transition, those were the only choices I had. And I chose to transition, to be happy, to finally be who I am. And now I want to live. Now I am happy in my body and who I am, and I want to live. That is huge. I haven't been able to say I want to live in over 20 years. And yet, I still get people saying it's a huge mistake, and no, it's not. Saying that blah blah blah, insert transphobic shit here. It's like, no. People thinking I'm gonna regret it. No. I wanted to chop those things off since they appeared when I was 10. I had top surgery 2 months ago. And I've been on T for a little over 14 months now. A little over a year. And I'm finally happy in my body and who I am, and I want to live. That is huge. It's frustrating because transphobia in the world. It's frustrating because I'm still getting misgendered at this point. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, I've been on T for over a year. I have a face full of facial hair. Like, I know it's still working on it, but it's like all around my face, and my voice is lower, and my chest is now flat. I'm beginning to think people aren't even trying. And I'm frustrated, and yet it hurts. The hatred, the transphobia, the misgendering, etc. But there's a huge... One, that's like society and people. It doesn't need to be that way. And it The world does not need to be transphobic. Trans people just want to live and be who we are. That's it. And two, I am happy in who I am now, in my body, in who I am, and I want to live. That's huge. All the frustration and whatnot doesn't make me want to not live anymore. I'm finally me. It makes me want to fight back against all the hatred. Sometimes it can feel hopeless, but we can't let it feel hopeless. We can't give up hope. And if I've learned anything, it's that hope is a very determined motherfucker. Excuse my language. But it seems just when there's no hope, there's always a tiny little spark somewhere. And I'm sorry for rambling. Maybe I should script this, but here we are. For like the 4th time now. But I don't think I mentioned the lack of access. People talk about, oh, well, if they ban or challenge a book, you can just buy it. If you're an adult with money and access. I'm 35 with my own money. I can buy the books that are banned and challenged. Not everybody can. And as I mentioned already, I needed the books that they're banning when I was a kid. The kids who need them now don't have that access, don't have that privilege. They don't have their own money. They need the libraries, their school libraries, their city libraries, county libraries, etc. because they have no other way. And that's where they're getting banned, is from the libraries. And that's what in their young adult and middle grade and children's books for kids like me and other marginalized kids now, who need those books now. Like I needed it 20 years ago. But didn't have. And I want the kids today to have what I didn't. Because not having it almost killed me. Kids deserve to see themselves, as well as other people, in their books and media. Because the world is beautifully diverse. And yeah, I think media should reflect that. I want a society to be able to critically think, because, frankly, critical thinking skills seems to be going down the toilet faster and faster. Or at least that's what I'm seeing. And an empathetic society. And do you know what builds critical thinking skills and empathy? Books. And seeing worldviews and experiences and points of view and people that are not like yours. And you know what helps not feeling all alone and like a freak and wanting to unalive yourself? Knowing that you're not alone. The whole critical thinking skills, it feels like nuance has flown out the window and been shot. When it comes to the internet, I'm just like, where did people's critical thinking skills go? Where did the nuance go? We need books. Kids need books. People need to know that they're not alone. That's a human need. And if you have never experienced feeling like a freak and like you're all alone and not seeing yourself in media, well, congratulations, that's a privilege many don't have. And even if you have the privilege to see yourself everywhere in media, one, I don't know how to tell you should care about other people. And two, it also expands your world of view and your empathy and all critical thinking skills, and realizing so many things aren't just right and wrong, but there's, shades of gray. Because so many people think stuff's black and white nowadays. And so many things aren't. And it's scary sometimes. Especially when I see people wanting to ban books on both sides. Yeah, I've seen liberals wanting to ban books they don't agree with too. And it makes me sick. Because everybody, myself included, has books they don't like. Books they wish didn't exist. But when it comes to book banning, it is a slippery slope. You ban one thing, all of a sudden you ban another and another and another, and they will come after the shit you like too. Book banning is a very slippery slope. When it comes to book banning, it really is all or nothing. Because if you think, oh, I just want them to ban the books I don't like. One, who is getting to make that decision? Why do you think you're the Grand Poobah? And two, if you... And two, I think what I was saying, was that they will come for the books and the media you like too. It's a slippery slope. So I think I covered everything. If not, I'm not making this video again. So, yeah. We need to talk about book banning. We need to do something about it. We have to keep talking about it. And please, I will link Ashley's video that I mentioned in the description. Please go watch it. I love her channel. She's also a booktube channel, so like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.